again to another episode of Dear Me podcast, and I am so excited to be here again today. For those who have been listening, I'm sure that you have been benefiting a lot from the conversation, especially if you have been executing all that you have been learning. And I'm excited to welcome us to the second quarter of the year. Of course, we are already in April, and so that means we've gone through January, February, March, which is the first quarter, and now we have just started the second quarter, and this particular episode is dedicated for us to examine our journeys and our movements so far. Before I get into the conversation, for those of you who are just listening for the first time, my name is Omaomi, and this podcast is brought to you by About the Voice. For those of you who have been listening or you're just listening, please, I'd like to encourage you to give this podcast a rating, and if you are not following yet, please make sure that you do that. It's really important that you follow so that other people can get the benefit from it. Alright, so what I'm talking about today is us reviewing our goals. I believe that at the start of the year, you set goals. You were like, this is what I want to achieve, this is who I want to be, and all of that. And the big question that I want to ask you is, how far? How has it been? Have you been able to achieve any at all? One important question, or one important thing that I would like to encourage you to do, especially in this your personal development journey, is sincerity. It's very important to be sincere with yourself, and that is one of the things that I have been intentionally doing, making sure that I tell myself the truth and that I am not flattering myself at any point. And so the question is, how far with your goals? Have you been able to achieve any of them, or sincerely you have not gotten anywhere? If you have not been able to achieve your goals, or if you have been achieving, or if you've achieved a part of it, this episode is relevant for you. And so one of the things that I would like to talk about today is, anyways, I'll be breaking this into different segments. So we're going to be talking about goal setting. We're going to be talking about goal vetting, actually. What are the things that you're actually meant to look out for before you set a goal? The things that you should be doing if you have set a goal, and what things you should not be doing about your goals. By the time we are done with this particular episode, you would understand. And so one of the things that you want to do is you want to sit down and review whatever goals it is. You know what I'm saying? I said we're going to be doing goal vetting. Whatever goals it is that you have written down or that you wrote down, you want to actually sit down and actually check them. How many of the goals that you wrote down are truly yours? That is a very important question you have to ask yourself. A lot of times, especially we young people, you're on campus, or you're just a young person trying to navigate life. A lot of times you see that you kind of take up certain passions because that is what is reigning, in quote, and a lot of times you might not know, but it just might be that you started to develop a particular passion because maybe that is what has been talked about a lot by maybe your friends, or what the world is pushing, or what maybe someone just put the idea in your head and all of that, and then some way, somehow you find that you have that as a goal on your list, or that you have in your mind or something. So the question I want to ask is, amongst all of the goals that you have written, which one exactly is your own true goal? And a way to know if a goal is actually yours is to ask yourself a question. This particular goal, or these goals that I have written, which one of them would I still care about? Like, which one of them would I still be passionate about if nobody knew about them? If nobody knew about a particular goal that you had, if nobody knew whether you achieved it or not, if it wasn't a public something and all of that, which of them would you actually care about? You understand? A lot of times we do a lot of things because we feel like people would see us, people would applaud us and all of that. My friends are doing it, let me do it. If your friends were not there, if your family wasn't there, if no one was there to cheer you on, which of the goals that you have written down would you actually care about? That is a question you want to ask. So you want to check which one is actually attached to me, which one is actually important to me, friends aside, family aside, emotions aside and everything, me myself as a person, which of these goals or goal is relevant to me? Another thing you want to ask yourself, looking at all the goals that you have set, is you want to check, did I actually put a deadline on my goals? Exactly. Did I actually put a deadline on my goals? It's just a talk of the mouth. If you have there's a particular saying that if wishes were horses, that beggars would ride. And so it's important that you have to sit and look that, okay, the goals that I have set, did I actually put a deadline to them? Right now, are you saying, oh, I want to have a 5.0 CGPA as a student, and you have no timeline? Have you said something like a more realistic thing would be that I want to have a 5.0 CGPA, and I am looking at, let's say for instance, you're a medical student, I'm looking at the topic that I am having this semester. Maybe you are doing head and neck. Maybe head and neck is the topic you are addressing, or the topics you're addressing for the semester. You want to say, okay, looking at my clinically oriented anatomy textbook by the end of March, okay, because March has passed. So you've said by the end of April I should be done with 150 pages that has to do with head and neck. That is a more realistic goal. You understand, rather than saying that you want to have a 5.0. What are the structures that you've put in place to actually achieve that? Have you attached a deadline? Or I want to work on my eating habit by the time maybe you already have a scale in your room, or you already have a place where you can access a scale, and you're saying by the end of April I want to have lost maybe 40 pounds, 30 pounds, 20 pounds. You understand? That is more realistic. So you actually want to sit down and look at the goals that you have set and see, okay, do I have a deadline for this? Okay, if you are in tech, by the end of April, I want to have been able to build certain, maybe so app, or if you probably already have an app that you have built, you want to say, okay, by the end of the month, I want to have at least 50 people making use of that app. That is more realistic. And so you want to check that. These are reasons why we have goals which we never achieve. And quarter to quarter, we remain the same because we have no structures put in place to help us achieve the goals that we set. So that is the second thing that you want to do. Another thing that you want to look at is, have you built an identity around your goals? So rather than saying that I want to write 50 books, you can start saying that you can start saying I am a writer, I am an excellent writer. You can start saying I am a best-selling author, instead of you saying something like I want to get a 5.0 this semester in my academics or in my academic journey. You want to start saying something like I am a straight A student. You understand? I'm a first class student. You understand? So by the time you've built an identity around your goals and you say it might even be obvious to people that you call yourself this, you do this. You would see that in subtle moments when you are doing things that is contrary to what you call yourself, it helps to kind of bring you back and let you realize that if you are doing this thing that you are doing, there is no way you would be a first class student. If you keep going the way you are going, there is no way you will become a best-selling author. So one of the ways for you to actually achieve your goals is to build an identity around what you want to become. You understand? Instead of you saying that I'm interested in data science, you want to start saying that I am a data scientist. And you know that from day to day, from week to week, if you are not practicing, if you're not learning, if you're not building your skill, you know that you would never become a data scientist. So that way it kind of works, it kind of triggers your brain to make sure that you stay on top of that goal. So these are things that you want to check. These are things that you want to actually adjust. And another beautiful thing that I would like to add, because I know that there are a lot of us who want to go in this line where you struggle with public speaking, for instance, or you find it hard to express yourself when you're in front of people. If you've set that as a goal, rather than saying that I want to be a good public speaker, you want to start saying that I am a public speaker. I am an excellent public speaker. And then you can fine-tune your brain like that way. Your brain fine-tunes to make sure that you do everything possible to actually attain that status. So it's really beautiful that you don't just say, I want to do this. You're actually speaking it, like you call yourself that thing, and you watch how your brain makes sure that you do everything possible to become that particular thing. Because of course you're going to be sabotaging yourself, or you're going to be, how do I put it, playing down on your identity if you are not matching the standard of what you call yourself. Moving on, there is something else that I would like to share with us, especially when it comes towards setting goals. We've talked about vetting your goals and all of that. One thing that you need to understand is that it is okay to let go of certain goals. The fact that you wrote 13 goals down at the beginning or at the start of the year doesn't mean that you have to hold on to those 13 goals. One thing you need to understand is that the person you were 3 months ago is not the exact person you are right now. So it's okay for you to actually sit with yourself and actually think, out of all of these things that I wrote before, what exactly still matters to me right now? What exactly is still in line with the person that I want to become? So you want to sit down and actually look at everything, because there are some times that because we say that we want to achieve a particular goal, we hold on to it even when we see that we've lost interest in it, that this particular goal is no longer in line with the person we want to be. Because a lot of times we make decisions based on the information that we have per time. So let's say, for instance, before you used to plan, you used to want to be a great agriculturist, but all you knew that time was how to carry out agriculture with hoes and cutlasses. Would you say that you want to stay with the ideology of being an agriculturist that works with hoes and cutlasses? Or would you actually upgrade and become a better version of yourself that says, okay, there is now mechanical agriculture? That is good. You leave the old goal and you move on to the goals that is actually still in line with the version of who you want to become. So it's okay for you to actually sit down and look through the goals that you have written down and say, okay, this is no longer the person that I want to be. You do away with that, and so that you can focus. So instead of having 13 goals with you struggling with what you are unable to achieve, or that is no longer in line with your values or what you think at the moment, isn't it better you have 5 or 3 goals that you know that you are truly interested in, you see a future in this, and you pursue it vigorously? So these are some of the things that actually stop us from achieving goals. You do not need to hold on to things that are no longer in line with your thought or with the kind of person that you want to become. Now it's already 3 months, you are better, you have more information, you have more understanding. You understand it is okay for you to let go of some goals and then focus on the ones that are still in line with the person that you are becoming, or that the person that you are at the moment. When it also comes to setting goals, there is something you want to have an honest conversation with yourself, because these are the reasons why we set goals and never achieve them. You want to sit with your goals and say, which of those goals am I willing to pay the price for? Which of these goals am I willing to go all in for? Okay, if I want to be a first class student and maybe I am currently a second class upper or second class lower student, what price would I pay? Okay, I have to reduce my time on social media, I have to probably start studying at night, I have to probably study more during the day, and all of that. You want to sit and okay, what am I able to pay the price for this particular goal? You want to sit and have that conversation with yourself. And when you've looked through your goals and you say that, okay, I can actually do this, this is something that I am because you have to actually sit and understand that every action has consequence, every goal has a price attached. So you want to sit, am I able to pay this price? When it is time for me to study, am I able to, am I willing, am I saying that I would do this? If for instance you want to start a business and you are starting it from scratch, that means no one is paying you a salary, you have to spend your time doing all of that. Is that a price? Like, you have to spend your time building the business, no salaries coming in, the days that you do not have enough sales or enough customer or people requesting for your service and all of that. Are you ready to pay that price? So you have to actually sit down with your goals. Goal setting or goal achieving a goal is not It's not child's play. You have to sit down and look at whatever it is you're writing down and say, okay, what are the prices that I have to pay for each of these? Am I willing to pay them? Do I have the ability to pay them? Am I ready to pay them, to bear the brunt of what I have written down, what I have in my mind? So you see that a lot of times the reasons we do not achieve the goals that we have written down is because we think that goals is just about writing things down, or being emotionally attached. It's a sport at the moment, and you're putting things down, you're saying, I will achieve. It actually takes a lot of work, determination, thinking, and dedication to actually bring whatever goals it is that you've written to life. So I believe that if you've listened this far, you can see that goal setting and being able to achieve goals is actually more than just writing down. It is a serious issue. Now, moving on to execution of your goals, it's actually important that you have a system that helps you execute your goals. When you've vetted your goals, you've set your goals, you've counted the cost, you know what to do. One of the things that you want to do is to find out ways for you to actually achieve those goals. One could be that you start whatever thing it is that you're doing as an habit. You want to start it as an habit, and then once you've done that thing, maybe let's say for instance you say you want to be a writer of a book, and let's say that you start it as an habit. You tell yourself that, okay, every single day I would make sure that I write something. It might be an article, it might be a part of a story, and all of that. When you write it, the next thing you want to do is you want to build a system that allows you to celebrate yourself. You want to say, oh, I did this today. You want to look for something to actually celebrate yourself, applaud yourself for achieving this, and that way you are motivated to do it the next day. You are motivated to do it the next day, and before you know, it becomes a habit. So having the mind to just do things and not having a reward system might not be sustainable. So you want to look for a reward system. Another thing you want to make sure that you're doing is that you are taking away anything that can actually stop you from actually doing what you've said you want to do. And so a step that you might want to take is maybe you want to set alarms. You want to set that alarm to ring every day to remind you to do that particular thing, and you want to discipline yourself enough to say that even if at all life interrupts my plans or my goals, because life can happen, you want to say, even if this one still happened today, I would make sure that it does not repeat itself the following day. I hope you understand. So maybe for instance you were meant to, like me, I release podcast episodes every Sunday. So let's say for instance 1 or 2 things happened and I am unable to release an episode this Sunday. I don't want to miss the coming Sunday. I want to say to myself, the fact that I missed the last Sunday doesn't mean that that is the end of the world, but then I want to make sure that I never miss the coming Sunday, because if I miss the coming Sunday, then it can be that I keep missing. So you want to take your goals that seriously. You want to make sure that you're saying that even if something happens and all of that, I still make sure that it doesn't happen 2 times. And so you want to do that. You want to set a system that allows you to easily remember to do that thing. If you're not setting an alarm, it might be that you want to put it in a calendar. You want to have something that schedules whatever thing you want to do, so that every time it is in front of you and you know that, okay, you have to do this. Okay, so let's say for instance you are working on your weight. You want to reduce weight. So if you have a lot of chocolates around, you have maybe you have friends that usually like to eat junks and all of that, you want to stay away from them, because if you stay away from them, or if you cut communication with them to an extent, not that you become enemies, or let's say for instance you say, okay, let's go and buy something. You know that you are working on the goal to have your weight checked. You want to have your weight reduced. You want to say, no, I'll not come out, maybe another day, maybe some other time. And that is how you avoid going to places where you can actually see these things that you would be tempted and buy and eat, and then at the end of the day you do not achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And so you want to set up systems that actually help you to easily achieve your goal, just like the example that I gave about weight gain. So let's say, for instance, you are a student that is working on getting a 5.0 CGPA. Before you sleep, you want to maybe put your textbook beside you. You want to open it up so that if you wake up in the middle of the night at any point in time, or if you set an alarm, sometimes you might be lazy to stand up and go to your table and take your book and all of that. If the book is beside your bed, you see it, it reminds you, quickly you pick it up, and then you might even most likely have more strength to stand up and take the book to your table and study, rather than when the book is far away from you and all of that. So you want to build systems around yourself that helps to make whatever goal it is that you have set to be achievable. I could go on and on and on and on saying so many things that you can actually do, but what I want to say in essence is this: if you have a goal, if you have set a goal for yourself, a goal takes a lot of intentionality and it takes a lot of work. It is not just about writing something down and hoping that it comes to fruition. You have to put in the work, you have to be intentional about whatever it is that you have put down, and you have to see that these things actually matter to you and that you are willing to pay the price, and every other thing that I have mentioned in the course of this particular episode. So you want to make sure that you are doing everything. This is the second quarter. Now you want to revise your goals, you want to vet them, you want to set those goals again, you want to see what am I dropping, and you want to attach deadlines to each and every one of them, and then you want to work towards those deadlines. And so if you're saying that by the end of April I want to have this and that, looking at the cost and of course putting everything that I have shared with us into practice, you would definitely achieve your goal. So I'm rooting for you, I am rooting for me. This second quarter is one that we want to use to actually achieve our goals. And so in case you have not been able to achieve your goal, do not be discouraged. So pick it up and work on it. Apply the principles that I have shared with you, and you would see that there is no goal that you have written down that is not possible to be achieved. If you enjoyed this episode and you have comments or you have questions, the number and the email is always in the description. And if you would like to collaborate with About the Voice, the email and the number is always in the description. If you have comments, you have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. This is where I will be wrapping it up. My name is Amomi. This podcast is brought to you by About the Voice, and we say that you are number one. Until I come your way again next time, bye bye.